Okay, great, Stacey. Just want to let you know we have attendees joining, so we're just going to start in a minute, everyone. Thank you so much. Hi, Stacey. If you want to get started in a few moments, we have a good amount of people on.
Great. Welcome. I'm Stacey Malone, the Executive Director of the Victim Rights Law Center. Thank you for joining us for the VRLC's virtual safari with Roar Africa. All ticket proceeds for today's event will help to provide free legal assistance for sexual assault survivors. And as you may know, the Victim Rights Law Center is the first nonprofit law center in the country solely focused on providing free legal assistance for sexual assault survivors. Last year, we helped over 1,000 survivors stabilize their lives following sexual violence. And through our national training programs, we also trained and supported thousands of professionals throughout the country to improve the national response to sexual violence. But we could not do this without you. Our work is made possible by you, our community, and we are so excited to bring our community together today in this virtual space, thanks to Roar Africa. Okay, a few housekeeping items for you. As you may have noticed, you can't see your fellow safari mates and they can't see you. So relax and have fun. For this event, Zoom will only display Roar Africa's exclusive safari video and our awesome Roar Africa guides. But feel free to chat away. You can see the Q&A down in the bottom corner of your screen. You can type in questions, any questions that you have about the video or anything you want to know from the Roar Africa guides. And finally, if you want to show off the great safari gear, like mine, that you're wearing today, you can post a picture to your Instagram with the hashtag VRLC Safari or email us at development@victimrights.org. Again, hashtag VRLC Safari or email us at development@victimrights.org. We'll put that information in the chat box too. But think about sharing your photo and safari gear because those who do will be entered to win a prize. And who doesn't like a prize? I will now introduce the founder of Roar Africa, Deborah Kalmayer. Deborah's family has been exploring Africa since 1688. She was brought up at a farm in Zimbabwe and later moved to South Africa. Deborah brings a deep commitment to the preservation and support of the people, animals, and environment of her homeland, and she founded Roar Africa in 2005. Her philosophy is rewilding souls and enhancing lives while saving wildlife and wild spaces. And her philanthropic works are truly incredible. The VRLC is partnering with Roar Africa around our shared vision of empowering women. sexual violence disproportionately impacts women and children. And VRLC attorneys who represent survivors use the law to help empower survivors so they can stay in or leave their jobs, their homes, and their schools. Roar Africa has created a women's empowerment retreat in Africa to benefit women in vulnerable communities, which is a clear synergy with the mission of the VRLC. Deborah and her bicultural team are brand leaders in ultra luxe and socially conscious travel in South and East Africa. And today, her team will take us on safari. Here is a message from Roar Africa's founder, Deborah Kalmayer.
Hi everybody, I'm Deborah Kalmayer, the CEO and founder of Roar Africa. I'm delighted to have you here today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to Mary Beth Burke for this incredible opportunity to share a virtual safari with all of you at VRLC. Our mission at Roar Africa is if African women rise, wildlife will thrive. And I know that that aligns very much with the work that you do. So I hope this will inspire you to keep doing that work and maybe to come and visit Africa. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Stephen, and I'll be taking you on safari. Everyone okay there? Yep. Thank you so much to Stacey and to Deborah for the great introduction. Myself, Stephen, and the other Stephen. So if you have any questions, just direct them to Stephen. We'll answer them. Stephen with a PH is going to take you on an actual safari. So the way things are going to work today, he's going to take you on the back of a Land Rover. He's going to bounce you around a little bit and take you into phenomenal game viewings. I do warn you though, it does get a bit bumpy, and you can thank him later for his African safari massage that he's going to take you on. He doesn't charge extra for that. And I'm going to be taking you on a photographic journey through some of the sightings I've had with Roar Africa guests in the past. So where exactly are we and where are we taking you? Well, we're in Africa, and there's the map of Africa there. Thank you, Laurie. She's our behind the scenes support team, because Stephen and I are not very good at the whole IT thing, so we've got an amazing support team, and Laurie is going to keep us going. So yeah, there are 54 countries in Africa, 54. Roar Africa focuses on 13 of these countries where we specialize in, everywhere from Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, all the way down to Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. If we go on to the next slide, you'll see we'll be focusing on Southern Africa. So when I take you on the photographic part of the journey, we'll be going to Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa, the blue, the pink and purple, and the green. So without further ado, make sure you got your cameras ready. Make sure you got your binoculars in your hand. Always have your camera ready when you're on safari. You never know what you're going to be able to take a photograph of. And I'm going to hand you over to Stephen, who will explain where you're going next. Thanks so much. Have a great trip, and I'll see you on the other side.
Thanks for that amazing introduction, Stephen. So we're going to be in the Kruger National Park in South Africa, which is just on the eastern side of the country, just west of Mozambique. There we go. You can see it, that green little spot there. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I think everybody can't wait to go on the safari. So let's get straight to it.
Look where we are. We're in the Kruger National Park. 23 hours to get here, but I'm here. I'm so excited. And tomorrow morning we're going to go out on a game drive, and hopefully we're going to get some amazing sightings. So you guys stay safe and be prepared for some amazing sightings coming your way.
So we're heading up to the northern part of the reserve. And the guys saw some lions in that area. So as we get close, just remember guys, just to stay seated. No standing, no sudden movements.
the animals are really habituated, so you get close to them. But if you stand up or sort of make a sudden move, they can run away. So you can see these zebras are really fat, and you never ever see a thin zebra, even during drought, and that's just because they have all of these stomach gases to help digest all the grasses that they feed off. So the best way is by looking at the zebra's mane, and if it's upright, they're healthy, and if it falls to the one side, then they're basically ill. Look at this group of impala. Sort of, no safari is a safari without seeing impala, known as the McDonald's of the bush, basically because everything feeds off them, from lion to leopard to cheetah. This is the nursery herd of impala that we're looking at, all females with youngsters. No males over here, as the herd that we saw just before this were all males, a bachelor herd. So up ahead, the guys have called in a lion sighting. So just remember, no standing up, stay seated. Remember how the animals basically see the vehicle as one object. As you stand up, you break the silhouette of that. So you'll see the animals are very sort of used to the vehicles. So we are going to get close. These two males that we're looking at are sort of the prime of their lives. 6, 7 years old. They're two brothers, so coalition. And they're the dominant males. This is their area. You can see the one male is always kind of looking around. And that's just because currently they're right on the boundary of their territory. So on the other side of this road is actually another territory of another pride. Okay, just to the right of these males are where the females are, or the rest of the pride. We'll go take a closer look at these guys. It's amazing how these cats just blend into the surroundings. But if you look at their ears, they got sort of the black markings that they're in behind their ears, and at the end of the tails they got the black markings, and those are just following mechanisms, especially during the dry season when the grass is the same color as the cats.
Now you can see the black markings really clearly.
A few more zebras ahead. Actually got some rhino tracks up ahead, so we'll follow them and see what happens and where it takes us. Maybe we see them, maybe we don't. Wow, look at that, 5 rhinos. How lucky are we to see 5? A group of rhinos like this is known as a crash of rhino. That's the collective noun, collective name for a group of rhino. So these are all white rhinos that we're looking at, and they shouldn't even be called white or black rhino. It should be called the hook-lipped rhino, which is the black rhino, and the weitbeck, which means wide mouth, which is the white rhino. And really the white rhino is a grazer, so it's got the very wide mouth, as the black rhino is a browser, so it's got the sort of hooked lip to basically feed off leaves and twigs. Really, there's no difference in color. You're not going to see an actual white color rhino or a black color rhino. They're both sort of that grayish color. You can see how the one horn has been removed from the one rhino, and that's just for sort of the conservation of the species, just because it's so heavily poached. So what they're doing now is they're starting to remove the actual rhino horns from the rhinos to prevent the poachers poaching them.
Now that they're all facing us, you can see a great example of that very squared lip.
A herd of zebra and gnu or wildebeest up ahead. Here we have a harem of zebras, so a dominant male and a whole lot of females, which the male will basically own. They will be his females. So once again, you can actually see how these zebras are staying very close together, and that's just for protection. Just so, once again, those black and white stripes form that sort of a haze. Also, every single stripe pattern on a zebra is totally unique, same as a fingerprint. So that's why when the female gives birth, she won't let her foal see any other zebra for the first 20 to 40 minutes, just so that foal will always know the mother's imprint, and it's known as imprinting. Ah, look at that, a group of warthogs. So a group of warthogs like this, it's known as a sound of warthogs. That's the collective name or collective noun. Pumbaa in The Lion King, as most of you will know, and I'm sure you've all seen The Lion King before, but very cool little animals. And when they run, they lift their little tails up in the air, and that's what the little guys follow. They follow the adult's tail. We call them the aerials of the bush. Maybe when they start running, we might see it.
Who's looking at who? So inquisitive, especially the little piglets.
Oh, nice lone bull, sort of minding his own business. And you can see he's really not interested in us at all. But what you'll find is if he does start coming towards us, then we basically have to just stand our ground and make ourselves look more dominant than he is. And in the back of his mind, he'll go, hang on, why are these things or this object not moving away from us? Why is this thing not scared of us? And he will then back off. But if he comes towards us and we all of a sudden start reversing, then he will know automatically that he is more dominant and he'll continue to chase us. So, you know, we'll observe him as he comes towards us. And, you know, if he gets close, he'll shake his head and he'll sort of, you know, maybe flap his ears. He might raise his head up to try and make himself even look bigger and more dominant than he actually is already. But we'll just stand our ground.
The standoff.
Okay, he is heading towards us, but he knows we're here. He can hear us, he can see us, he can smell us. So, you know, he's coming towards us, so he's coming into our comfort zone. We're not going into his comfort zone. So, yeah, we just have to stand our ground. Okay, here he comes. There we go, shake of the head, just like I said. And he'll most probably even come towards us now. Shake his head a bit more, maybe raise his head, make him look more dominant again. How magical is this landscape? When you look at a landscape like this, you just don't think of South Africa. You think of, you know, East Africa. You think, you know, the Serengeti, the Masai Mara, those great open areas. But wow, hey, what a privilege to live and work in an area like this. hippos in the dam here, these guys are the absolute best, when they're in dams like this. They often sort of come up close. Let's just try to get a much better look. And they sometimes try and intimidate you as well. They start sort of calling, start shaking their heads around in the water. They often make like a call up. And they're basically just kind of showing their little territory. Their territory is the water, and then outside of the water is their home range. There we go. I'm glad that they did it. It's always nice when you kind of predict what they're going to do and then they actually go do it for you.
So that bouncing around is just trying to make itself look more dominant, more aggressive than he really is. It's just a threatening display.
There we go. Here we go, watch.
Sun's just coming through.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome male.
Oh, hold on. Let's see if he turns back towards us, yeah?
So you can see this male is smelling all the time. He's just trying to pick up the scent of the rest of the pride. Often the pride will leave the males.
Two giraffes here, it's just minding their own business. So who's looking at who? But look at those white ears. And when they walk away from you, those white ears stand out. And when they're in a group known as either a journey of giraffes or a tower of giraffes, when they're standing still, they actually pick out that white behind the ears, and that's a following mechanism. Amazing to think that these guys have got 7 neck vertebrae in their necks, exactly the same as us humans. They're just far larger. Wow, look at the size of this breeding herd. As I'm just scanning, there must be at least 40, 45, 50 elephants here. And some really little guys as well. You can see these little guys, if they can actually fit underneath the mother's stomach, then they are usually under a year or exactly 12 months. So that little guy over there walking sort of between amongst the herd, It's a youngster. That must be 11, 12 months old. Look at that female over there with her trunk up in the air, the wind blowing straight towards her. So she's just making sure that there's no danger anywhere in the area. You know, with little guys in the herd, they're going to be so vigilant. So you also see that all the females in a herd are all related. So grandmother, mother, aunt, sisters, and the bulls only sort of come in for breeding. So this herd will be majority sort of all females with satellite males, males which haven't reached sexual maturity yet. Gee, this is really such a special sighting, guys. Hey? You also see when all these elephants are walking through the grass, or any big game for that instance, you can see all the birds flying around. These are all bee eaters flying around, and they're actually feeding off all the insects. As the animals walk through the grass, all the insects fly up.
You can see all of the heads are very angular, very squarish. So that's the females, and the males have got a round head.
And let's see, maybe there's something there, hopefully. Little by little. You see how the elephants throw mud on their body, and they use that really as a sunscreen, and then as it dries as well, they'll actually go and they'll rub themselves and all the mud comes off, including things like ticks and parasites.
Nature's moisturizer.
One of my favourites though. People are always amazed when they see sort of elephants in the water and swimming. But the actual fact is elephants really love the water and they swim really well. And on hot days, they'll always sort of come to the water, go into the water, swim under the water, and they actually use their trunks as snorkels. One of my favourites though. Long descending whistle. Very sweet sound. Yeah, it's nice. Humans are getting in the way. Moses. Find it, Moses. Yeah, because tumor kind of thing all over their bodies. That papillomavirus, like a wart. As I've seen giraffe have been absolutely covered in warts. Doesn't even look like a giraffe. So you'll see when giraffe walk, they've actually got an amble walk, that both legs on the same side move together, same as a camel. It's known as an amble walk. Couple of old buffalo bulls here. These are the ones that have been kicked out of the herd by a younger, stronger, dominant male. So these are the grumpy old men, as they no longer have the herd for protection. They often get harassed by lions. So they're just miserable guys. The grumpy old men, eh? Shy and peaceful. Obviously, if you're walking through there and you startle one, you know, you're walking through there and you pop out on the road. That's the story. Yeah, that's... So look, that's kind of thing.
Ja, wil je bij Savannah Drive zien wat hem op een Ingwe?
Oh, okay. I got my fuzzy Ingwe. With the, must be my daughter trailing they boogered the Madoda. And I've got my fuzzy new bridge. She's very on edge.
Now, if you notice, look at that tail's going from side to side, it's twitching. So she's very nervous. It's because there is a male leopard around in this drainage line.
My tail, huh? So it doesn't look fed. Oh, definitely interesting. She's watching something. Maybe the male is. She's watching something. Check her tail. Well, down there, it's either male or food. I just want to see. I don't recognize her body shape. But the young female leopard population around the river is. Gee, my goodness, we've been spoiled today with elephant sightings. Just elephants everywhere at the moment. And it's been so nice to see so many breeding herds. You know, often we get lots of lone males around and we don't often see the big breeding herds, which is great to see. It's so nice when they are relaxed like this. You can see this lioness, she's not happy. Bit of a snarl over there. She sees something in the distance, something that's caught her attention. It could be another predator, it could be the male lion, it could be any of those. And when there's little cubs like this, then obviously the females are very aggressive or very protective for their young. There's actually two sets of cubs here. There's a set of cubs which are roughly about 3 months old, and then there's another set which is about 4.5 weeks old. So that's why she's so sort of vigilant. So I hope you guys enjoyed that safari as much as I enjoyed it, and I'll hand you over to Stephen Lake to show you some photographs.
Wow, Stephen, that was so much fun. Thank you so much. I really had a great time. It was, my kitties aren't too bad either. And it was really, really great. Thank you so much. Those elephant sightings, wow, such a privilege. We are so fortunate. I hope everyone's enjoying. Now for the second part, my part, where I'm going to show you some slideshow and some photographs of animals and sightings I've seen over the years. I always remind people I'm not a professional photographer. I simply do it out of love. But I always remind people to have their cameras ready. When you come on safari, you're not going to get a take two or a second chance to do it quite often. You just got to have your camera ready. So my advice to my guests when you're on the vehicle, have your camera on your lap, take the lens cap off, make sure the camera's on, number one, and make sure you got battery and enough memory on your memory card. A spare one, battery and memory card is always advisable. So without further ado, let me get started. And here we go. As I say, I'm a safari guide, not an IT technician, so I'm all on my own here, so wish me luck. And please let me know if everything or nothing's running smoothly. Alrighty, jumping straight into it, literally. This is a bushbuck. Now, male bushbucks are quite shy to see, and you know, to see one running towards you is quite incredible. As I say, bushbuck, they're normally found in the bush. They're normally in dense, hiding behind trees and behind bushes, and that's their first line of defense with their beautiful camouflage pelt, is to just stand dead still and hide in the shadows. That's how they blend in. So that's their first line of defense. If they're running like this, that's their second line of defense, which clearly means they're on the move and that something is chasing them. So this guy was in a big hurry, and to see an antelope like this is quite special because they're often very shy. So to see one running towards us was quite special. I often say with my photographs that the photograph is one thing, but the story behind the photograph is what I always want people to see, and I get kind of frustrated because I don't see or know what was happening. But this guy was in a big rush, so much so that you can see he decided to do a swan dive into the river. Now, what had happened here is we were just on our way back to the lodge after a beautiful morning drive, and we decided to stop in the river just to enjoy the sounds of nature. And we had some hippos on our right, and we had some crocodiles and some birds. And we hadn't been stopped for more than 3 minutes when this guy came running towards us and did this very dramatic dive into the water. So clearly he was running for his life. Then, to make his matters worse, as he jumped in the water, he just happened to jump in the water where there were a pod of hippos and a dominant male hippo. So not only has he been chased by something that we don't know what's chasing him, he's now also chased by the dominant male hippo. This guy is having a bad day. Anyway, he manages to swim to our left and get across the river and bolts off. As he runs away, seconds later, these guys arrive. So now we've had a bushbuck, which is a great sighting, and now we've got wild dogs suddenly in front of us again. And you can see they're clearly looking as to where did our dinner go? We were chasing it. Wild dogs, out of interest, are very successful hunters. They have a 70% success rate. So to put it the other way around, that antelope, the bushbuck, only had a 30% chance of survival, and he made it. So he beat the odds. And I loved this photography that happened here, and it's pure chance. I'm just literally shooting what's in front of me. The light was perfect. The wild dogs were running around the water looking for some kind of scent, some kind of hint that the bushbuck went this way or that way. They had no clue. As it turns out, there was an impala which they picked the scent up and they ran away. So for me, these kind of photographs are what I love, because you can see the trail of water, the splashing, there's action, and the light is perfect. You cannot plan this. You've just got to be ready. You've got to shoot. You don't get a second take. And I just absolutely love taking these photographs. It was a real highlight. And this was at a lodge very close to where Stephen was, in fact, in South Africa. The next photograph is another lodge, but north of South Africa. So we're still going to go in South Africa to a meerkat. So a completely different sighting. And this is at a lodge called Tswalu. Now, Tswalu is just a great lodge to visit as well. And this meerkat experience is the best. So you get up early in the morning before the sun comes up. You go to their burrows and you wait for the sun to pop over their little burrows. And they literally, as soon as the sun hits, they pop out of the little holes. And they're looking for the sun. They want to warm up. They're yawning. They're stretching. They're getting ready for the day's action and activities. And the great thing with Tswalu, especially for family gatherings or family safaris, is you can literally walk out with these meerkat and be part of them. They've had done a lot of scientific research at Tswalu, and there've been a lot of researchers that have been with them for years. And the meerkat have got so used to humans, they just don't see any threat from us, and they don't worry about us. They don't even care about us. It's just like we're a walking shrub that walks around and stands in front of them. But the children, and we all learned and we all told when we were following them, just to sit dead still if they come close to you. And so once they've woken up, once they've stretched, they then move off and they start doing what meerkats do, which is look for food. And it's so great, like this young lady, Amber, getting to watch a meerkat doing what it does. It digs for insects, because in the Kalahari Desert, you can see it's extremely dry. The meerkats don't need a water hole. They get their water and their moisture from what they eat. What do they eat? Things like insects, scorpions. They have an amazing ability of biting off the scorpion's tail, which is the bad part, and then eating the rest of the body. They do it incredibly quickly. And they eat little rodents. So they get their moisture from the things they eat. And it's just so much fun. The kids were told, whatever you do, don't move. So this poor little chap, Connor, was trying desperately to sort of stay on his haunches without falling backwards, and he wanted to take a photograph, but instead he just had to sit and watch and enjoy. Same thing here with Jenna, and she was too scared to take the photo. But you get, so not scared, but you would be told her, don't move, and she did as she was told. So it's really such a great fun family activity, and to really get to see what the meerkats get up to and be part of their day is just fantastic, and the kids absolutely love it, and they get these awesome pictures. It was just so much fun. This is a pregnant female. You can see her nice little tummy there, enjoying the sun. They love to use the sun to warm up on. And then these are sentries. So you'll see their eyes, and they're up tall. They're looking for any danger that might be coming around. Their big predators are the birds of prey, the big eagles. So their eyes, if you look, it looks like they've got mascara around their eyes. Those are sort of like sunglasses to keep the glare of the sun away, and it helps them see further. So they can see they've got phenomenal eyesight. And if they see anything, there's an alarm call and they just bolt and run away. For the next area, like I say, you got to have your camera ready, right? So now I'm taking to Zimbabwe. Now we had done another great morning safari, and we were just stopping for a bush tea, a cup of tea in the bush, a little picnic. And literally getting out the vehicles, I thought, oh, this is a great opportunity to photograph some zebra and some wildebeest. And lo and behold, the impala started to jump. And I just got some incredible shots of these impala. And you can see how high they can jump. Phenomenal. As Stephen said, these guys are known, the impala are known as the McDonald's of the bush, because everybody eats them and you find them everywhere. And then you've got the old zebra there as well, and the wildebeest or gnu in the background. And whilst we were having our tea, as Stephen mentioned, elephants always try and make themselves look big and ferocious, and they want to sort of prove themselves, and you often get mock charges. Now I can tell you we're on foot, but I can guarantee the vehicle is just to the right of the gentleman. His hand's actually on the vehicle, so we're ready for a quick getaway. But we knew this was a mock charge. You can see the ears are out. There's a lot of dust, and the elephant's head's high, as Stephen told you on the game drive. So we were quite relaxed with this, and he just wanted to show us that that he's the boss. But he was a bit perturbed because we weren't moving anywhere. So he stopped, kicked up the dust, and then walked away. This particular lodge in Zimbabwe, Pomashana, is a phenomenal lodge. It has one of my favorite water holes, and I'll show you right now why, because you get photographs like this. The water hole has an underground dugout, like a bird hide that you can hide in, a game hide, and you eye level with the water. So to be able to sit in that hide and to hear and smell elephants or whatever comes down to the water is just phenomenal. You got to be dead quiet there. You got to be so quiet. And these are young bull elephants that are just playing around. And it's just so much fun to sort of hear them, and you hear that clash of the heads as they're playing, and you're like, whoa, that's hectic, and you realize how big and strong these animals are. But again, from a photographic point of view, the splashing, the action, it's just so much fun. I absolutely love it. Out of interest, you can often tell if it's a left-handed or right-handed elephant due to how the tusk is worn away. The more worn away, that's the hand it is. In this case, I think it's a right-handed if you look at the elephant on the left, but I think it was also chipped off a bit. It's very, very short. And yeah, just a great time. Fun. Again, Stephen was explaining about how you can tell male and female elephants, and you can tell they're males because the head, it's nice and curved. Stephen showed you a breeding herd of females, and their head was very sharp and angular. So yeah, that's a good way to tell without looking at the obvious signs. And now I'm taking you back to South Africa to another incredible sighting. Again, I'm not a National Geographic photographer. I try and capture the story. Now, Stephen showed you some beautiful leopard sightings. This is not a leopard. This is a cheetah, a lot taller, and it's got the tears that are coming down from the eyes, the black tears. A good way to distinguish between a leopard and a cheetah. And also their spots. The cheetah spots are solid, unlike the leopard spots, which were rosetted. So what had happened here was we had been told that this poor female cheetah had lost one of her cubs. She had 5, and she was only with 4. So you can see she's incredibly stressed. I mean, you can just see in the face, there's a lot of stress there. And it was very sad to watch. I mean, she's not even worried about the roan antelope in the background there. She's not worried about anything around her, but she's just worried about trying to find her cub. And now the missing cub had been gone for over a day, which is a bad indication for cheetah cubs. It's often a sign that something bigger and more prominent has taken them out. Taking out the competition as far as the prey. You can even see there in her mouth, she's actually calling. And it was so sad to watch. I mean, we literally followed her and she's calling. She's just focused on trying to find her cub. The cubs are, the other 4, obviously, like just being cubs, they don't really mind about their missing sibling. They just want to eat and play. And again, a great opportunity to take some photographs of young cheetah cubs, who are very, very endangered, by the way. And so this was a phenomenal sighting in itself, but kind of had a mixed feeling knowing that she's missing one of her cubs. But they were so cute, climbing trees. Again, I love the light that sort of just glistens on the eye. That's if you can always capture a bit of glisten in the eye, you know you're doing well. And the whole time, all she's worried about is looking for her cub. She's very skinny. She's obviously quite hungry. She hasn't even been hunting. She's just purely been looking for her missing cub. Then all of a sudden she stops and we think, oh, we see a warthog in the distance. And now we think we're going to see a hunt. As it turns out, what we thought, if you look in the top left there, you see what we thought was a warthog. It was actually her missing cub. And how cool was it to be there to watch this female who'd been so stressed to find her baby cub. And it was just so cool. There they reunited. As I say, the vehicle's moving, the lights going, my camera work maybe not the greatest, but you get the story. And that's all 5 of her cubs together. I think she was completely exhausted. She needed some time out. She went up on a little termite mound and she sat down and just enjoyed the sunset. Very, very stressful, but such a happy ending, which doesn't always happen in nature. Right, now I'm taking you to a great lion sighting, and there's always a story behind the photographs. And this particular lion sighting, I remember the family I was on safari with. We were desperate to find lions, and we had seen incredible leopard sightings, cheetah sightings, you name it, but we couldn't find lions. And of course, everybody wants to see a lion on safari, and we heard about this pride of lions in the distance. So we decided to travel, and we traveled a long way. Now, you never know what kind of lion sighting you're going to get, and often it's just females that are sleeping, or maybe if you're lucky, a female with a cub, or maybe it's a male lion. And here we found the perfect lion sighting. It was all 3 in one go. You have the male, the cubs, and the female lionesses. So such beautiful, again, extremely lucky with the sunlight going down, and a great opportunity to enjoy great photographs of this family, this pride of lions, just enjoying themselves. And the young ones are very, very inquisitive, the cubs. And like Stephen mentioned about the giraffe with their white on the ears, so the lions have black behind the ears. And that's another form of follow me sign. So when they're hunting, the adults can watch each other where they're going. And if they've got cubs, the cubs can watch and see where mom's going. So they follow the black more than the actual animal itself. And now you can see the dad, remember they're nocturnal, so dad's sort of lying down here, he's wanting to rest a bit. But of course, the children are keeping him awake. Yeah, as they do. Always time for some dinner before they get up and start their activities. This chap was so funny. He was playing around on a log, and he just trying to be all cool, and then all of a sudden he just sort of slipped, fell off, got it, well, almost fell off, managed to balance himself back up, and decided, no, that's enough for today, and went off. And then when you see really young lion cubs, like, these are some of the youngest cubs I've seen. I just had to show you some cuteness, because I mean, aren't they so cute? And again, you see the black tail of the mom on the right hand side, the black tip, and with the grass, they've blended in so well. That's probably one of the cutest photographs I've ever taken. But the cubs will follow that black tip as they're walking through. They're very inquisitive. They'll come very close to the vehicle. We don't move. We just sit still. We let them sniff and smell. We stay quiet, and we let them move along. And there's, again, the good example how the black stands out. Alrighty, this is another group of pride lions, and their parents were out hunting, and they were told to stay there, whatever language lions talk, and they've behaved incredibly well. They just stay exactly where they're told to. So I guess the ultimate sighting for a lot of people are leopard, and when you get to see leopard cubs, it's just a privilege in itself. Any of these animals are privileges. This particular sighting, you can see the grass is green. It was a very wet day. It was the last safari with these guests that I had on safari. We've been together almost 7 times now. So this was their very last safari. They maximize every safari. And we were very fortunate the tracker managed to see these lion footprints coming, or spur going across the road as we were heading back to the lodge. So it was such a privilege to see these beautiful leopard cubs with their mom. And now I'm taking you back to Botswana. So Botswana, and this is a photograph taken of a channel called the Savuti Channel. Now the Savuti Channel is a very mysterious channel, because sometimes it flows and sometimes it doesn't. To give you an idea, it was first recorded flowing in 1851 by David Livingstone, and it flowed for many, many years, almost 80 years, and then it suddenly dried up again. And it sort of dried up until the 1950s. Late 1950s, started flowing again until 1982, and then it dried up again. And I happened to be here in 2012 when it started to flow again. So it was incredible to see the change of this dry, marshy area in Botswana to suddenly have this channel flowing. And then I went back in 2015, 3 years later, the channel had dried up. And I never thought I'd take a photograph of a leopard fishing. But indeed, as the channel was drying up, the Savuti Channel, the leopard was able to catch catfish. It was unbelievable. And she would take them off to, she had a couple of cubs, and she would take them to, and they had fish for dinner that night. without the chips. And then rhinos always a pleasure to see them. When you got a baby calf rhino, is just the cutest, isn't it? And as Stephen told you, that's a wide-mouthed or a white rhino with her calf. This was another great sighting. All of a sudden, she turned around in complete shock. Rhinos don't have the best eyesight. They've got phenomenal hearing, phenomenal sense of smell. So she sensed something, and that's what she sensed. It was, again, one of those moments where you kind of like, no, please don't take out the baby. And there were 3 lionesses that were attempting to get her baby calf, but she was very adamant that she was not letting them close to her calf. And I wouldn't be taking on a female rhino when she's protecting her baby. At the best of times, she's going to take you out. But she kept charging the lions. The lions kept stalking the calf, but she was not having anything of it. And again, it's evening, the sun's going down, so the photography is difficult. It's fast, it's intense, but I just had to try and capture something of this incredible moment. And again, I love this kind of photograph with the dust and the sort of glisten in the eye and the determination in her face. Look at those ears, they're forward, they're very, very focused. And again, she's just always making sure that her calf is okay. Eventually, they sort of trotted off, and the lions gave up the chase. So today, I guess we're doing this virtual safari because, unfortunately, of COVID, and one day you will hopefully see you all here on safari. But this is a pangolin, and one of the theories is that pangolin meat is the start of where COVID-19 came from. Pangolins are beautiful, beautiful little animals. I absolutely love them. If you ask a safari guide their favorite sighting, if they've seen a pangolin, they'll tell you it's a pangolin because it'd be a highlight. And if you ask a guide who hasn't seen a pangolin what animal he wants to see the most, he would tell you he would love to see, or she, a pangolin. And these little chaps are just the cutest little guys. And it's very sad to tell you that they are the most trafficked animals in the world. Their form of defense in nature is the scales that you see on the body. They curl up, and those scales are so tough that even lions can't bite through those scales. They're purely made of creatine, which is what your nails are made of, but they're incredibly tough, so nothing can bite through it. But of course, they're rolled up in a ball, and humans can pick them up and walk away. There are 8 species of pangolin in the world, 4 in Asia and 4 in Africa, and they're all very close to being vulnerable or extinction. And look how cute they are. They are just the most adorable thing. So I guess they kind of brought us together today. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining us, to the Victim Rights Law Center and Stacey and her team for allowing us to present this to you. It really has been a phenomenal day. Stephen and I and Laurie and the whole team have had so much fun putting it all together. I'm just going to end with a final video, and I suggest you put your volume up as high as you can. This is a roaring lion, and when they roar, it's very guttural. It's from the stomach, it's from the lungs, it's from deep down, and they're roaring to mark their territory. They want to let everyone know that this is their turf and they are the boss. When this lion was roaring, I can tell you the whole vehicle was shaking. Alrighty, enjoy it, guys, and thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you in South Africa. If you have any questions, or in Africa, if you have any questions for us, please direct them to us, and if we don't reply tonight, we can reply via email.
That baboon's heard and seen it.
Well, there we go, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much, Stacey, to you and your team, and for all the great work you do. And I love your outfit. I love the ears.
Thank you, Stephen. And Stephen, wow, that was so incredibly amazing. I was on safari almost 20 years ago, and I swear I was transported right back. Hearing that lion, I got like goosebumps all over my arms. That's incredible. Thank you both so much. We're so grateful to Deb and Steve and Stephen, Lori, and the entire Roar Africa team for this incredible experience. Thank you to VRLC's Board of Directors member, Mary Beth Burke, for connecting the VRLC and Roar Africa so that we could partner on such a memorable event. And thank you to everyone at home for joining us today and for taking some time out on your Saturday to experience this just truly special moment with us. As you know, the VRLC's mission is to help individual survivors and to change the national response to sexual violence. Events just like this ensure we can provide free services to sexual assault survivors. We ask you to join us on this journey, on this safari, as well as the bigger journey to help survivors to end sexual violence. Check out Roar Africa's website, roarafrica.com. Check out the Victim Rights Law Center's website for more fun and upcoming events at victimrights.org. And we hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining us. And thank you to everyone at Roar Africa. What a great time. Have an awesome weekend. Thank you. It was awesome.